Oh no. Nationwide is on your side. No way. New earworm. I was coming on with, hey, teachers, leave those kids alone. But here you come with Nationwide is on your side. Happy Friday, everybody. So good to see you here. Man, you pumped me all up for our Constitution class. I'm super excited. Hi, Heather Joy, Benjamin, Astua. It's really great to see you all here. I appreciate you coming here and learning with me. This is so fun. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a great time. I'm having me a great time. This is going to be a good short reading today, but we are going to start off with the quiz from Monday's lesson. Sorry I had to miss you Wednesday. We were doing pony care. So that's all out of the way. But looking forward to this weekend. I'm bringing the little pony family down for a little Mother's Day event. It's going to be really fun. And so, yeah, it's going to be cool. What is this study? Okay, we're doing the quiz. I actually got it for you so you can follow along. Last night, I was trying to set up my Rumble and it was showing that it wasn't working. And then this morning when I got up, I was like, okay, two of you are set up and neither one of you have a code. So I don't know if that confused anybody. I doubt it. And that's quite all right. I am trusting that the people who this study is for do watch this study, and I really appreciate you guys. A lot of you watch it after, and I thought about just doing uploading videos, but it just sounds so boring to me. I really want to be here live and do it. Also, plus, I don't even know that I would do it if I was just uploading videos. There's just something about being live that makes it way more fun for me to want to share this information than just like uploading a video by myself. So that was a fleeting thought. And I just want you to know it's gone. It's gone. So we're going to be we're going to be refreshing ourselves because we are doing restoring, not reforming. And so we have a good, sure, solid foundation. Even if people want to get lost in the weeds about which constitution and all of that stuff, we can go back to Exodus and Moses and God himself telling us all groups of 10, groups of 50, groups of 100, groups of 1,000. We have good ancient principles. So we're learning about how these founders are thinking. And this book that we're studying is called The 5,000 Year Leap, because it's about principles. And so this doctor took all of the principles he could find and condensed them down to 28 principles. And today's principle is all men are created equal, but we are doing the refresher on the role of a divine creator. Okay, so here are the 28 principles of liberty. And the idea is as you learn these principles, you know, what's so great about this is people that do know the true laws, our unalienable rights, God's and natural law and all this stuff, they speak a certain language. They connect the dots with their own experiences. And that's why nobody's going to give you a template. You have to understand this for yourself. So we've gone through 5 principles now. We're on number 6, but we're refreshing 5. All things were created by God. Therefore, upon him, all mankind are equally dependent, and to him, they are equally responsible. So that is the principle and the quiz we're going to do before we do the quick reading. So number 1, the man who went through a reasoning process to show the existence of a divine creator was dun dun dun. Does anybody have the answers? I never do that. I just read through these because I assume, you know, I'm not going to call y'all out for not doing the answers. Hi, Camo. Good to see you, honey. Good to see ya. Yeah, right on. Good. I'm glad you love this book. I'm just really starting to grasp it and understand it even more than the first time I did the study. And I did that with this other book, which is actually my favorite new book, this Making of America. And for those that really want to learn about the grand jury process and stuff, that's in here. And I've also uploaded that in 2 places on this website. So the chapter on the grand jury. So anyway, yeah, we are learning the principles and we're learning how to relate them through our own experiences so that when we go to deal with issues, we fully understand them. Nobody handed us the secret template, like I said. So number 2, he was born in 1652 and he died in 1704. So three, he said an atheist is irrational. He was actually shocked to find that when he had, that was Tocqueville. I better wait till I get to my notes. But if you were on the witness stand before you even got into the process, if you were asked about God, someone witnessed it. I think it was Tocqueville. They wouldn't even accept your testimony. They'd think you a lunatic for not seeing the obvious, which is the creator. One more thing real quick before I move on. I made a mistake last study and said something about Patrick Henry wanting to found a religion. And I knew right when I got off, I was rewatching the beginning just to check the sound and everything. And I don't watch the whole thing. I can't do that anymore, but I probably should. But I noticed that I said that. And Patrick Henry was proposing a tax to be given to each state's appointed minister. He wasn't trying to set up a religion. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. I misspoke on that. That's why we're learning together, kids. Isn't it great? 4, his basic premise was that a something could not be produced by a nothing. An example of a watch is a great one. The Case for a Creator is an excellent book to read about designers and our bodies. If you need more proof than looking at the heavens that are declaring the glory of God and the firmament. Number 5, in Anglo-Saxon, the word for supreme or ultimate good is God. Number 6, name 3 attributes he said the creator must possess. 1, the creator must have a cognitive ability for reasoning. 2, compassion and love. 3, sense of right and wrong, a sense of humor, and a great artist. Those are just a few. 7, what is a deist? A deist believes that God created things and then left them, basically, is how Mr. explained it in the video. He is not close by, because attributes of a creator, one of them is that he is close by and still working today, right? He who began a good work will be faithful to complete it. And deists believe that, yeah, at one time there was a God, but there's not now. And I'm God, by the way, usually is what you hear from deists. But it's like he wound up a clock and set it and left. God created, then left. That's deists' attitudes and beliefs. In bullet points. I'm not saying every deist believes that to a T. I'm sure somebody could come at me and say, that's not what I believe and I'm a deist. Fine. I'm just relaying a study. Okay. This is what the founders believed. They studied all these things. They studied all the religions. And it was important to them to get them an educational system, along with our history about the fact that we are a republic. We have equal representation. 8, give one incident showing the founders were not deists. They believed God was close, that he answered prayers, and that he protected them. 9, what motto did the founders adopt showing they depended on a supreme being? Well, in George Washington's many letters, he even pointed out that 67 times, had it not been for the benefit of God's providence, they would have been undone. 10. What happened in early America when a witness in court said he did not believe in God or the next life? The judge refused evidence from a witness, saying their testimony was untrustworthy. Armani says, in God we trust. We swear oaths to God, not to people. When people raise their hand and are swearing an oath, it is presumed they have a reverence for God. And therefore, people that are ungodly should not be leading us. Right, the fifth principle of liberty. All things are created by God, therefore upon mankind, all equally dependent. To him they are as equally dependent, and to him they are equally dependent. Okay, is this all my notes? So they believed in things that were self-evident. A creator was one of them. Just making sure I don't have anything that I skipped here. Oh, yeah, it was very interesting reading about the Old South Church in Charleston. The bells in the belfry rang. When they were praying about the French fleet would be taken out. And as they were praying, as they finished praying, and it said it was a long prayer too. Like, preacher was going on and on, you know. But then the bells in the belfry rang, and they knew God had answered their prayer. And they found out a week later that entire French fleet was wiped out. Non-believers were not allowed to testify. All righty, that was our quiz. I hope you all got 100. I hope you all got 100. Skousen wrote 4 books covering, oh, that's the doctor who wrote this book. Yeah, Skousen. Thank you for that. Covering the Old Testament. How interesting. Oh, they knew, your parents knew this author? Ah, so cool. How cool is that? Well, we might need to do a string with them, you know? That would be fun. I would totally do. You and I are supposed to do a stream too, aren't we? We did talk about such things. All right, now it's time for the reading. This is a quick one today. All men are created equal. Here we go. The founders wrote in the Declaration of Independence that some truths are self-evident, obvious, and one of these is the fact that all men are created equal. Yet everyone knows that no two human beings are exactly alike in any respect. They are different when they are born. They plainly exhibit different natural skills. They acquire different tastes. They develop along different lines. They vary in physical strength, mental capacity, emotional stability, inherited social status, in their opportunities for self-fulfillment, and in scores of other ways. Then how can they be equal? The answer is they can't, except in 3 ways. They can only be treated as equals in the sight of God, in the sight of the law, and in the protection of their rights. In these 3 ways, all men are created equal. It is the task of society, as it is with God, to accept people in all their vast array of individual differences, but treat them as equals when it comes to their role as human beings. As members of society, all persons should have their equality guaranteed in 2 areas. Constitutional writer Clarence Carson describes them. First, there is equality before the law. This means that every man's case is tried by the same law governing any particular case. Practically, it means that there are no different laws for different classes and orders of men as there were in ancient times. The definition of premeditated murder is the same for the millionaire as for the tramp. Ooh. A corollary of this is that no classes are created or recognized by law. Second, the Declaration refers to an equality of rights. Each man is equally entitled to his life with every other man. Each man has an equal title to God-given liberties along with every other. Rousseau's error. John Adams was in France when Jean-Jacques Rousseau was teaching that all men were designed to be equal in every way. Blasphemous. Adams wrote that all men are born to equal rights is true. Every being has a right to own his car, as clear, as moral, as sacred as any other being has. But to teach that all men are born with equal powers and faculties, to equal influence in society, to equal property and advantages through life is a gross, a fraud, a glaring and imposition on the credulity of the people as ever was practiced by monks, by druids, by Brahmins, by priests of the immortal Lama, or by the self-styled philosophers of the French Revolution. What it means to have equal rights. The goal of society is to provide equal justice, which means protecting the rights of the people equally. At the bar of justice, to secure their rights. These are a list of our equal rights, not limited to, but for sure. At the ballot box, to vote for the candidate of their choice. At the public school, to obtain their education. At the employment office, to compete for a job. At the real estate agency, to purchase or rent a home. At the pulpit, to enjoy freedom of religion. At the podium, to enjoy freedom of speech. At the microphone or before the TV camera, to present views on the issues of the day. At the meeting hall, to peaceably assemble. At the print shop, to enjoy freedom of the press. At the store, to buy the essentials or desirable things of life. At the bank, to save and prosper. At the tax collector's office, to pay no more than their fair share. At the probate court, to pass on to their heirs the fruits of their life's labor. The problem of minorities. Admittedly, equal rights have not been completely established in all of these areas, but the founders struck a course which has thus far provided a better balance in administering the equality of rights than has occurred at any time in history. The breakdown occurs in connection with the treatment of minorities. Minorities in any country consider themselves outsiders who want to become insiders. As long as they are treated as outsiders, they do not feel equal. The interesting part of this is that every ethnic group in the American society was once a minority. We are a nation of minorities. There is no spot on the planet Earth where so many different ethnic groups have been poured into the same milieu as the United States. It was appropriate that America should be called the melting pot of the world. Two things are especially notable about this. First of all, it is remarkable that the founders were able to establish a society of freedom and opportunity which would attract so many millions of immigrants. Secondly, it is even more remarkable that within 2 or 3 generations, nearly all of these millions of immigrants became first-class citizens. As we noted above, newcomers to any nation are not considered first-class citizens immediately. Human nature does not allow it. In some countries, outsiders are still treated with hostility after they have resided in these countries for 300 or 400 years. In the United States, immigrants or outsiders can become insiders much more rapidly. Nevertheless, the transition is painful. Crossing the culture gap. Being a minority, even in the United States, is painful because acceptance depends on crossing the culture gap. This means learning the English language with an American dialect, more or less attaining the general norm of education, which in America is fairly high, becoming economically independent, which often means getting out of the ghetto, and becoming recognized as a social asset to the community, which always takes time. Usually it requires far more time than the minority group can patiently endure, but the impatience of a minority can be an advantage. It expedites their assimilation by motivating greater effort to gain experience. In the United States, as a result, many members of a minority group are assimilated in a single generation. Others must wait until the second generation, and a few are still struggling in the third. But these are the exceptions. They can't quite get across the culture gap. It is a fact of life in America, as everywhere else, that no ethnic group is going to be entirely comfortable or treated completely as equals in an adopted society until they have crossed the culture gap. A nation of minorities. As mentioned above, there is not a single ethnic group in the United States, but what has been treated at one time or another as a minority or less than first-class citizens. The story of minorities in the United States is a fascinating tale, beginning with the French in the 1500s and the English in the 1600s, and the Dutch, Germans, Swedes, Scots, and Irish in between. It was one grand conglomerate of tension, discrimination, malice, and sometimes outright persecution. But the miracle of it all is the fact that they fought side by side for freedom in the Revolutionary War, and all of them could boast of descendants in the White House or the Congress as the years passed by. So all of this became America, a nation of minorities. The Japanese and Chinese, one of the best examples of minority adjustment under adverse circumstances, is the American saga of the Japanese and Chinese. The treatment they received is an embarrassment to modern Americans. They were not only shabbily treated, but sometimes they were treated brutally. In certain situations, this happened to other minorities as well. But practically none of the Japanese and Chinese went home. They became domestics, field workers, and truck farmers. They ran laundries, worked for a pittance on railroads, ate their simple fare, and slept on bare boards. Meanwhile, they sent their children to school and endured their mistreatment with patience. By 1940, the Chinese were virtually assimilated and the Japanese had almost made it. Then came the attack on Pearl Harbor. Within weeks, the vast Japanese population in California had been hauled off to concentration camps in the Rocky Mountains. J. Edgar Hoover knew there were practically no espionage agents among them. The few security risks had already been identified and incarcerated. He vigorously protested the Japanese evacuation and so did many others, but all to no avail. The Japanese could have been very bitter, but to the ultimate embarrassment and chagrin of those who had engineered this fiasco, they loyally mobilized their sons and sent them into the American Armed Services as volunteers. Japanese American regiments were among the most decorated in World War II. They went into the military ranks under suspicion and resentment, but they came out in hero roles. A few years later, the entire state of California was represented in the Senate by a Japanese American. The black minority, but of all the minorities in America, the blacks have undertaken assimilation as first-class citizens under the greatest number of handicaps. Many early political leaders of the United States, including Abraham Lincoln, were fearful the blacks might never achieve complete adjustment because of the slavery culture in which the first few generations were raised. Nevertheless, freedom and education brought a whole new horizon of hope to the blacks within 3 generations. Tens of thousands of them hurdled the culture gap, and soon the blacks in other countries saw their ethnic cousins in the United States enjoying a higher standard of living than blacks in any part of the world. In fact, by 1970, a black high school student in Alabama or Mississippi had a better opportunity to get a college education than a white student in England. Providing equality for the blacks has never been approached with any degree of consensus. Some felt that with education and job opportunities, the blacks could leap the culture gap just as other minorities had done. Others felt they should be made the beneficiaries of substantial government gratuities. Experience soon demonstrated, however, that government gratuities are as corrupting and debilitating to blacks as they are to the Indians or any other minorities. The blacks themselves asked for equal opportunity at the hiring hall. Thus, the trend began to shift in the direction which no doubt the founders such as Washington, Jefferson, and Franklin would have strongly approved. Violence proves counterproductive. In the mid-60s, there were groups of Marxist agitators who moved in among the blacks to promote direct action by violence. One of these was Eldred Cleaver, who had been trained in Marxist philosophy and tactics while serving a 15-year sentence in a California state penitentiary. In 1967, he became the Minister of Information for the Black Panthers. In his book, Eldridge Cleaver describes the rationale behind their philosophy of violence. It was to destroy the whole economic and social structure of the United States so that blacks can enjoy equal rights under an American communist regime. The crescendo of violence increased year after year. During the summer of 1968, over 100 American cities were burning. But the burning was always in black ghettos. The idea was to put the blacks in direct confrontation with the police and state militia in order to solidify their apparent need to become a racial bloc for the coming revolution. But the burning and firebombing backfired. The black population began to realize it was only the homes of blacks that were being burned. Other than police, it was primarily blacks that were being hurt in the melee of the riots. In the shootouts with the police, 19 of the Black Panther leaders were killed. Eldridge Cleaver was wounded. He and his wife later fled to Cuba and then to other communist countries. The whole scenario of violence had proved tragically counterproductive. It temporarily jolted out of joint a broad spectrum of reforms which the blacks were really seeking and the rest of the nation was trying to provide. A dissident returns. After nearly 8 years as an exile in communist socialist countries, Eldridge Cleaver asked to be allowed to return to the United States and pay whatever penalty was due on charges pending against him. He and his wife were no longer atheists. They were no longer communist. Those bitter years behind the iron and bamboo curtains had dispelled all the propaganda concerning equality and justice under communism. Cleaver told the press, "I would rather be in jail in America than free anywhere else." He then went on to say, "I was wrong and the Black Panthers were wrong. We Black Americans are inside the system. And I feel that the number one objective for Black America is to recognize that they have same equal rights under the Constitution as Ford or Rockefeller, even if we have no blue chip stocks. But our membership in the United States is the supreme blue chip stock and the one we have to exercise." By 1981, Eldridge Cleaver had paid his final debt to society. No further charges were pending against him. Although he had been involved in a police shootout in Oakland, California, he had not been accused of causing any deaths. In fact, it was in the Oakland shootout that he was wounded. As he was released on parole, the judge required that he finish his obligation to society by putting in several hundreds of hours of public service at a California college. Soon after that, he began accepting speaking engagements before schools, churches, community gatherings, and even prison groups to describe his new and yet profound appreciation for America. He described the despondency which came over him when he found what a betrayal of human rights and human dignity communism turned out to be. He described the long and strenuous intellectual struggle with his Marxist atheism before he recognized its fraudulent fallacies. He frankly and patiently dialogued with university students still struggling with similar philosophical problems. He assured them, as Locke had done, that a persistent pursuit of the truth would bring them to the threshold of reality, where the Creator could be recognized and therefore have a place in their lives. The Eldridge Cleaver story is simply the account of a prodigal American who found himself and returned home. Constitutional amendments to ensure equal rights. After the Constitution was adopted in 1789, Americans added 4 amendments to make certain that everyone, including racial minorities, could enjoy equal rights. These amendments are as follows. The 13th Amendment to provide universal freedom. The 14th Amendment to provide universal rights of citizenship. The 15th and 19th Amendments to provide universal voting rights regardless of race, color, or sex. The founders distinguished between equal rights and other areas where equality is impossible. They recognized that society should seek to provide equal opportunity, but not expect equal results. Provide equal freedom, but not expect equal capacity. Provide equal rights, but not equal possessions. Provide equal protection, but not equal status. Provide equal educational opportunities, but not equal grades. They knew that even if governmental compulsion were used to force its citizens to appear in material circumstance, they would immediately become unequal the instant their freedom was restored to them. As Alexander Hamilton said, inequality would exist as long as liberty existed. It would unavoidably result from that very liberty itself. Nevertheless, there are some who insist that people do not have equal rights unless they have equal things. The founding fathers were well acquainted with this proposition and set forth their belief concerning it in the next principle, which is literally titled Equal Rights, Not Equal Things. Yeah, I'm not a fan of any of the amendments after the 12th. Doesn't make any much sense. Hi, Jen. Good to see you. Oh, yes, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms. It's Friday. I have a couple rant streams welling up. The local media here, you know how they fail to really share all the things that need to be shared. There's some extra things. I watched the Board of Supervisor meeting. A lot of really great speakers came out. And city council meeting. This is the 4th week California has published notice that we are assembled. There is a how's it called? Grand jury du jour in California. So a lot of exciting things are coming out. And I need to come back and be able to share about those things, but I try to keep this one, just very much so on our study, because I just want people to be able to follow the study. And I can't find my little book, so I'm just going to say a prayer for y'all in this chat. I want to thank y'all for being here. Thank you, God, for these people that want to learn. I pray you help us to comprehend all the things that we need. Help us to be equipped to stand up, speak up, and show up, and to be effective. Lord, bring more people into your army. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you all, and I will see you, I think, this weekend. I'm talking to Sean, but I think tonight we have a training call. I'm on a lot of calls now in the evenings, just listening in and getting training and stuff. So that's where I'm at. If I'm not reading or playing my piano or playing with the horses, I'm busy. Let me give you my email here. D4JC number 55 at gmail.com. That is my email. Feel free to email me. I hope you guys are all doing well. We do need to have us a little chat ski. We need to check in with each other, see how everybody's doing. Sorry I missed your call, Jen. I'll try to get a hold of you this weekend, sweetie. Thank you guys for being here and learning about the principles. This is really fun, isn't it? I'll see you on the next one. Repeat. Repeat. D4JC number 55 at gmail.com. You got it? Can you see it? Get it? Got it? Good? You got it, girl? Then I get people that are like, you better delete that. I got a good spam filter. Hit me with your best shot. Far away. No, just kidding. All right, I hope you got it. We have a testimony in 1 hour. Where? What channel? Hawaii. Oh, okay. Yes, Hawaii. And actually, there's that's another thing that I wanted to come back and talk about. There's a video I saw. It was a gal who I'm sure you've probably seen that video. I don't know what you think about it, but the woman who pulls out against mosquito release. How interesting. Oh, thank you for dropping that link. Very good. Very good. The woman who pulled out some paperwork claiming to be the heir of the queen and talk about all the land she had. So I do want to share that. I still pray for Maui, pray for the Hawaiian Kingdom. They do stand up. They're always on the call. I do believe they are interim assembled, but I do not know for sure. Most of the states that have felt the pain are California, New York. We're assembled. We are feeling the pain. So one of the saddest things of the Board of Supervisor meeting, I really enjoyed this couple. They are friends of Patrick Creek in Trinidad, I believe. And it was great. It was so humble style, you guys. The couple spoke, and then she went and sat in the back, and the camera was on her. She just started breastfeeding her kid. It was awesome. It was awesome. And they were coming out in droves against Mercer Fraser. and talking about how they're dumping the water. But the sad thing was that when that mom came back to the podium to speak, she was about in tears because she was saying, and this is our only recourse. All we can do is come to you and complain about it. And it was like, it's that cry for help, that's like, it really all it's doing is letting them know that you don't know your other remedy. Here's that common law grand jury chapter that's here. It shows where it is in the Constitution, talks about it. I'm going to put a stream I've done with Sean about. Sean and I've talked about common law grand jury a lot. Devil Dog and I have talked about it a lot. There's a lot of information out there. Nobody's going to teach it to you. None of the famous streamers seem to have time to get Destry on their call. They have been asked and asked and asked. And, they're just given their grifter juice. It's like watching the National Enquirer on video all day. All they do is spoon feed people grifter juice. And her name is Kai. I met her. Oh, yeah. She's a beautiful, delightful woman. I do want to come back. If you're around, maybe you could email me too, and we could talk about Hawaii. I would love to talk with somebody about Hawaii. I don't understand why the big streamers, it's been 4 years since COVID. Where's we the people? Why aren't you showing people where you're going for all the shock jock stories every single day? Because that's what's popular. Yeah. Those of us that are sitting here like, canaries in the coal mine, I'm not looking to get famous. I don't care about that. I'd like to see someone talking to people in Maui. We watched that happen right before our eyes. That was a ritual. What do they call that? What that Sound of Freedom victim came out and said, you're being ritually traumatized by entertainment, by that movie. Do you know that victims of sexual trafficking and assault are not fans of Sound of Freedom because they vetted who the people are? Don't tell me, Disney had it for 5 years and blah, blah, blah. You don't know. You're not vetting. You're watching popular streamers. You're watching popular movie shows and TV shows, and you're not listening to real people. You're still being entertained. And then the people that are in the know start to sound like that, a little condescending, a little annoyed. And, you have to watch it because everybody's coming in at different levels. And that's something I'm trying to work on. I like a 1 to 10 level of, like waking up and the streamer grifter process. Like, watch out for this. Don't go that way. The minute you come up with your merch and you're this and you're that, you're just losing a little bit of credibility. Some of you, that was what you started off to do. And I get it. It's just, if you don't change it all, there's people that have not changed at all in the way they deliver their message. I don't think Salty Crackers change it all. And I don't think Lou Valentino's change it all. Maybe they've watched enough people do it. But, I've watched a lot of people through the truckers movement, through the COVID, through the LGBT, through all the different stand-up movements, the BLM, all these people that get on here and start talking. Who is highlighting your county? You all that have 60,000 followers, you have 1 million followers. Do you even know what's going on in your county? I could care less what you think anymore. If you are not sharing what is going on in your own community, then I don't know. You must think you have it all. You must think you have that special goods that nobody else has. There's another group of people I'm sick of listening to too. Margot and what's your name? This couple that come out, they coming out like they got the solutions. Only they know how to do it. When people tell you only they know, you need to look for people that tell you to research for yourself. They tell you you can do this. It takes 13 people to assemble a county, 27 to 31 to have a grand jury. Who's telling you that? Where are the big streamers? You're a great disappointment. A great disappointment. After 4 years, you think that you could come out and give some useful information instead of just gossip garbage? You know what I just heard in Maui? No, they don't know what's going on in their own counties. It's disgusting, isn't it? You're going to stand before God, y'all, with your big platform. Those who are first are going to be last, and those who are last are going to be first. That's not what I wanted. I wanted I'm trying to find here we go. Your link. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this link from Hawaii real quick, and then I better get off here. I ranted a good 10 minutes. Just so sick of these people. Hey, Devil Dog. There you are. Yeah, the truth is, my truth is not your truth. The truth is just the truth. In Maui, they do stuff on another island, so we have trouble knowing even what's going on. Well, sure. And like with Hawaii or with California, because we're so large, it's the wild, wild west out here, and they got it down. It's like, listen, any county or community, if you're not providing oversight, if you're not doing FOIA requests, if you're not studying up on our laws, your rights, do you ever think about what if they're going to drag you to court? They're coming at us nonstop. They're not going to stop. They're coming for our water. They're coming for our land. They're coming for all of it. By design, to get you engaged, to stand up and self-govern. Are we even good enough to self-govern? That's my rant stream I want to do. Are we even good enough to self-govern? Now I see why the founders even asked themselves that question. I don't know. I just see we're greedy pig whores everywhere I look around. Bunch of grifters making money. It's disgusting. You're not helping our community. If you're not helping your own county, you are not helping us unite. Because people are looking to you to tell them, well, where do we go? What do we do? And you're going to talk about what David Nino Rodriguez and Juan said. Who cares? I've never cared for those people. Send testimony. Okay, Thursday, bacteria infected. So they brought you bacteria infected mosquitoes. Great. Oh my gosh. The state of Hawaii and its multi-agency partnerships, birds, not mosquitoes, are already releasing millions of bacteria-infected mosquitoes on the fragile ecosystem. Oh my God. It's everything. They're coming at us with everything they got. Until you stand up, they won't stop. Do you understand? These people are evil. Evil thrives when good men do nothing. Keep doing nothing. It's working really great, everybody. I'm so sorry this is happening to you, Hawaii. I'm so sorry our crappy corporation company that we fund with our tax dollars is continuing to be weaponized against us all, against all humanity. What a shame, huh? Well, it is uniting them, if anything else, from the ashes will come beauty. And we have to believe that, but God, I love you too, honey. I love y'all so much. I'm going to come back. I'm telling you, it's all built up. I've been watching the obituaries, 31-year-old, 28-year-old, 48-year-old, suddenly and unexpectedly, cardiac arrest, blood clots. You media here are worthless. You're worthless. You're worse than worthless. We deserve better. And one day we'll get better. Yeah, and Jen lives in a town they must spray every month. That should be stopped immediately. Wisconsin needs to clean that up. They're fumigating the city. Would you believe they spray the entire outdoors? They've been doing it for 19 years. They'll probably come to your town and do it in your town if you let them. They are not going to stop, you guys. We have got to get together. So-called tax stars won't pay interest of the debt. Nobody even cares about the debt, Nobody even cares about the debt. I sure don't. I can tell you I could care less about that debt. Other than how it might affect us. If it's actually supposed to do, are people going to come in and invade our land over it? Maybe. They're already here. They're already in your county buildings, your board of supervisor buildings. They're at the Secretary of State in California. Names are in Chinese on the door. If your community has no oversight and nobody is assembling, putting a grand jury together, doing FOIA requests, doing what's the ROA called? Report. You know the ROA. Records, Public Records Act, PRA. There are things we can do. And so I would just encourage you to watch people that are doing things. Devil Dog does things on his own. He stands up, and he has people that are like-minded that he gets together with and makes things happen. There's no excuse. You know, when they said hold the line, maybe some of you thought that was stupid. I thought it meant don't let them take any more from us. And now people aren't even doing that anymore. After COVID, they've ramrodded through. Look at the schools here. The schools here and the mayor here are a disgrace. And if people don't stand up against what they're doing with literally with Satanists and pedophiles, I just don't even know what to say. There's nothing to say. I mean, I can't fight these people by myself. And I know I'm not alone. They've just got us fragmented and separated. And we're separated by walls, and we're separated by distance, and we're separated by, you know, the algorithm on purpose. And you just have to fight through all of that. We have to fight through all of that and fight the compare, compete, and conquer attitude, because that is what is hurled at us every day. Size them up. Where do we disagree? Disregard them. Cancel them. I fight that. I love you all. I don't care what you believe. If we're fighting for freedom together, if we're standing up for our rights and the kids, I can get on the same page with you. I can get past all our differences. Can you? Can you? Are we good enough to govern? On my Rumble link? Okay, honey. Drop my Rumble link. I'm dropping it right now, and then I'm getting off here because I just keep ranting. I'm a ranting away, and I try not to do it on my constitutional stream because I'm trying to just be educational, and I don't know why I'm trying to sing. I just love y'all. It's been fun. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.